What's up guys, it's Travis. In this video I'll be ripping out this old laminate flooring and this hideous carpet and installing this beautiful engineered hardwood flooring. When you're installing engineered hardwood flooring, you need to let the flooring acclimate per the manufacturer's instructions. This particular engineered hardwood recommends 72 hours of acclimation. If you don't do this, your flooring may grow or shrink after installation and cause major issues. The first thing I need to do is remove this quarter round trim. If you want to know how to remove this quarter round trim without breaking it, I made a video on that right here.
To remove the quarter round, patience is key. Score the caulk line and then very carefully pry the quarter round off with a putty knife.
Now I'm going to go ahead and start removing this old laminate. Basically, it comes apart just like it goes together. I'm going to start right here by the trim and work my way down. By the way, I did kind of luck out and the trim does not go underneath the baseboards, which is how I'm going to install the new flooring, so that's perfect.
This type of laminate flooring is super easy to remove. You pretty much just lift it up and pull it out. I had this whole section of flooring removed in no time.
Now, if you don't plan to reuse it, remove the old underlayment. In this case, this underlayment is super easy to remove. You just roll it up and take it out. If you have carpet to remove, pull it away from the tack strips at the edge or a corner. Then if you're not going to reuse it, I like to cut it into more manageable strips and then I just roll it up and get it out. The carpet padding gets removed the same way, except it's probably going to be stapled down. Then remove all the carpet tack strips. They should come up pretty easily with a hammer and a pry bar. My builder was also nice enough to leave some of these giant blobs of drywall mud that need to be scraped up. Now clean the subfloor thoroughly. Be sure to remove any carpet staples. It's also a great time to screw down any squeaky subflooring. Now I'm going to install this underlayment. I've chosen an underlayment with a high STC rating to help reduce the noise transmission to and from the basement. This stuff is pretty easy to install. You just roll it out, cut it with a utility knife, and then stick it to the row before. To install the flooring, start on an outside wall because they are usually the straightest. I'm starting where my old flooring started and I'm using some of the old flooring as a reference to make sure I'm laying the new floor straight. The manufacturer recommends a 1/2 inch expansion gap. I'm using a 1/4 inch expansion gap and here's why. My baseboard is low enough that the flooring cannot go underneath it and my quarter round is only a 1/2 inch wide. So if I used a 1/2 inch expansion gap, you'd see the edge of the wood. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk, but I don't think it's that big of a risk because the original flooring I had in here, the laminate, is very similar in makeup to this, except for the veneer, and it had about a 1/4 inch expansion gap. So that's what I'm gonna do, but you guys should follow the manufacturer's instructions. This engineered hardwood I'm using does not click together, so it's a good idea to glue the ends on the first row so it doesn't separate here at the trim. I double checked. If I use a full board in the beginning, I should have about 1/2 a board on the final row, which is fine. You want to make sure you don't end up with a thin sliver of a board for the last row. For this video, I'll be using a floating flooring. To install this type of flooring, you should insert the top edge first, then slide it over and press it down. Make sure there is no gap on the end. When you run into an obstacle to cut around, measure carefully and then cut it out with a jigsaw. To mark the final board in the row to cut, flip it over like this and butt it up against the wall and mark where it meets the last piece. Then just cut on the miter saw. Be sure to save your cutoffs at the end of each row. Most of the time they can be used to start another row. I actually prefer this flooring over vinyl plank because you don't have to pound the seams with a rubber mallet to get the joints to connect. For the next row, be sure to offset your seams by at least 6 inches from the previous row. So my flooring came in 2 different lengths, which is nice because it adds a little bit of additional variation. But also it's nice because when you want a short board, you got a short board. When you want a long board, you got a long board. Now I just keep on laying rows like this. Be sure to keep checking that the floor is being laid straight.
I signed and dated the final piece before I laid it in place. I thought it might be cool for the next homeowner to see who installed the previous floor.
Once you are completely done installing all of your flooring, go ahead and reinstall your baseboards or your quarter round, fill any holes, finish your caulking, and touch up your paint. This flooring completely transformed the look of my home. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please hit like and subscribe, drop me a comment, and check out one of these other awesome videos over here. See you guys. Get out of here, cat.